clearly physicality has played a big part in this series between the Celtics and the Sixers, and it's going to continue throughout this renewed rivalry, right, Nick?
I think it's renewed.
It is renewed. It's officially renewed. But does this remind you of the old rivalry when this thing really got started between the Celtics and the Sixers?
I mean, I think it's...
You would remember, Nick. We need you here. Come on.
Dude, I'm
Turn
not
back
that,
the clock.
I'm not that old.
Let's take a trip down memory lane.
I'm not that old, but there is ESPN Classic. But anyway, I think it's devoid of the superstars. You know, no Kyrie, no Hayward. Whereas in the 80s, you had Bird, you had not Magic, Bird, you had Dr. J, you had Cedric Maxwell. So, you know, this was a bad blood between these two franchises. It clearly still exists. Joel Embiid, we heard it in game 1, 2, 3, 4.
He's at the center of it all.
He's at the center of it all.
Right.
Every game there seems to be a jab, and I don't know whether he's doing it intentionally or not, but there's a jab at Boston. And these two franchises, I mean, Max attacked somebody in the stands at one point in the early 80s. I mean, this was it wasn't in this building, it was in the Spectrum. This was an ugly franchise. Ugly rivalry, and now I think you're seeing it come together again with Embiid, with Simmons, particularly after Game 4. You heard Simmons and Rozier. You were firsthand. You were down on the court at the time when the fight or the technical foul altercation happened with Rozier. And what happened there, bro?
I mean, between Rozier and Embiid, this was bound to happen. Maybe not with those two guys, but whenever someone tries to keep the ball, I call it keep away. You know, when there's a dead ball and they're like, oh, trying to keep it away, the other person tries to grab it. It was only a matter of time before the two guys are going to start going at it. That's exactly what happened between those two guys. Now, I think Embiid was obviously not trying to throw punches or anything or shoves, but he was trying to get under Rozier's skin. It worked clearly because Rozier responded, and I think it sort of got him out of the game, you know. And I just think that's been what Embiid's been trying to do with the trash talking, you know, he wants the Boston fans to hate him.
A lot of bulletin
from the beginning of the series.
A lot of bulletin board material in this series. I mean, you talk about in the post-game pressers, tons and tons of stuff. I mean, Embiid, after Game 4, went at Rozier hard, called him too short, said, good thing he missed, he's too short. Now, let's go back to Game 4 and take a look at that.
I mean, I was trying to, they got called for offensive foul, and I was trying to get the ball to keep the game flowing because I felt like we had an advantage, and we were on the run. So I just wanted to keep it going, and trying to get the ball, and he kind of kept the ball away from me and tried to punch me twice, but too bad he's so short that he couldn't get to my face. You know, I didn't understand why it was a double technical.
So you can see, obviously, Josue, but there's something likable about Embiid. He plays a good villain.
Oh, he backs it up.
Well, he's funny.
The difference between him and Bledsoe and Eric Bledsoe pretending not to know who Rozier is that he's backing it up. I mean, fourth, triple doubles, and he just continues to stack them up here, or excuse me, double doubles, continues to stack them up, and I just think he's been making a name for himself and obviously showing how powerful and how dominant he's been throughout the series.
He's also gotten under Marcus Morris's skin. I loved when Morris was going 3-0, 3-0. Now, in the press box,
to remind him.
We saw that, but we didn't know what was going on in between the two of them the whole time, and clearly Embiid was trying to get into his head.
That's right.
The Rozier-Embiid fight almost reminded me of Ralph Sampson and Jerry Sichting back in the 80s. Talking about the 7'4" guy.
I don't know those guys.
You're too young. You weren't even born. You weren't even thought. Your parents weren't even married yet. But no, I mean, these were great times. It's what makes basketball great. When a player can play the villain role really well and still kind of be somewhat likable like Embiid. Simmons, on the other hand, he's smug. He comes off, he says these, like tonight first, he comes off and he says things that are smug.
Well, that's who he is.
Yeah.
And, the personalities obviously start to unfold throughout the series, and I think they'll continue to unfold when this rivalry really, heats up.
Before you wrap,
obviously down the road.
I'm not going to bitch about officials because we don't do that here. But they've certainly not helped it. The physicality of the game.
Yeah, they haven't, but I mean, did they really change the outcome of this game?
I don't think they know, and I think Brad Stevens was very clear about that after all the games in this series.
Right.
Whereas the Sixers have more leaned on, especially Embiid, complaining about the officials. Either way, the NBA is a better place, Josue, when the Celtics and the Sixers are at the top of the Eastern Conference competing to go either to the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA. We're going to see a lot of this over the next decade.
Absolutely.
I can't wait, man.
And you know what, guys? Tell us what you think. Let us know what you think about Embiid. What do you think about this rivalry?
Am I the only guy that remembers?
Is he the only guy who remembers?
Is old enough to remember?
Let's see if our older viewers will respond to this one. Let us know what you think in the comment section. CLNS Media, I'm Joseph Pavone. He is Nick Gelso.